Japan, 1915. The country is in the middle of an electricity boom. Cities are wiring themselves for the future. Factories are replacing muscle with motors. And across the country, millions of new electrical devices, motors, transformers, generators, lighting rigs, are being installed by people who mostly don't understand them, which means, inevitably, they're going to break. Into that gap walks a 21-year-old named Mosaburo Makita. Mosaburo is not an industrialist. He is not a wealthy visionary with investors behind him. He is the son of timber merchants, people who have worked with their hands for generations. He has studied electrical engineering. He understands motors and transformers at a mechanical level, and he sees something that no one else is focusing on. Not selling electricity, not making light bulbs, just fixing the machines that make electricity work. On March 21st, 1915, he opens Makita Electric Works in Nagoya, Japan. A repair shop and motor sales operation, small staff, modest capital, an unremarkable beginning for a company that will, 110 years later, report annual revenues of nearly $5 billion. Mosaburo Makita was 21 years old when he founded his company. DeWalt wouldn't exist for another 8 years. Milwaukee Tool wouldn't be founded for 9. The early years of Makita are defined by one thing: mastery through repair. When you spend years fixing motors that have failed, you begin to understand motors better than the people who built them. You see where the weak points are. You understand what kinds of stress destroy them, and you start to develop instincts about how they could be built better. This is Mosaburo's competitive advantage, not capital, not connections. Understanding. By 1923, Makita has built a small but solid business. Then the Great Kanto earthquake strikes. One of the most devastating natural disasters in Japanese history, over 100,000 people killed, a third of Tokyo destroyed, Yokohama nearly leveled. The electrical infrastructure of an entire region is destroyed overnight, and Makita is perfectly positioned to help rebuild it. The earthquake that devastated Japan became the event that strengthened Makita. But the real test was still coming. Through the late 1920s and into the 1930s, Makita grows steadily. They expand beyond repair into manufacturing, producing their own motors, generators, and transformers. In 1935, they make their first foray into international markets, exporting electric generators and motors to the Soviet Union. A small deal, but a signal of larger ambitions. In 1938, the company formalizes its ambitions. Makita Electric Works becomes Makita Electric Works, Inc., capital of 180,000 yen, 94 employees. A real company now, not just a workshop. Then comes the war. World War II reaches Japan's home islands in devastating ways. The major industrial cities, Nagoya, Tokyo, Osaka, become targets for Allied bombing campaigns. Makita's headquarters in Nagoya is directly in the line of fire. The decision is made to move. In 1945, Makita relocates its base of operations to the smaller, less strategically significant city of Anjo. It is a move made for survival. It will end up being permanent. Anjo is still Makita's home today. When the war ended, Japan had to rebuild. And the company that had spent 30 years learning how to fix broken electrical machines was about to find its greatest opportunity yet. In 1958, Makita built a tool that Japan had never seen before. Nobody knew it at the time, but it would change the direction of the entire company, and eventually the entire global tool industry. Post-war Japan is in the grip of the Kodo Keizai Seicho, the high economic growth period. Construction is booming. Factories are multiplying. The demand for tools, real, professional, high-performance tools, is unlike anything Japan has ever seen. Makita is watching carefully. They have spent 4 decades understanding electric motors. They know what motors can do, and they see a gap in the market, a tool that every Japanese carpenter needs, but that nobody has yet made portable: the electric planer. In January 1958, Makita produces Japan's first portable electric planer. It isn't revolutionary in concept. Hand planes have existed for centuries. But a portable electric handheld planer that a carpenter can take to any job site? That is something new. It sells internationally almost immediately. Exports to Australia bring in revenue that Makita has never seen before at this scale. The company lists on the stock exchange, and the strategic decision is made. Makita is no longer a motor repair and sales company. Makita is a power tool company. The pivot is clean, decisive, and total. Everything that follows flows from this moment. Graphic. Animated timeline. 1915 to 1958, shown as motor repair, sales era. At 1958, dramatic visual transition. The power tool era begins with a new color scheme and expanding timeline. Through the 1960s, Makita moves fast. New tools, new markets, new countries. By 1969, the same year America puts a man on the moon, Makita is already thinking about the next frontier of tools, untethering them from the wall. The 6500D rechargeable drill isn't cordless in the modern sense. The battery pack attaches via a cord rather than mounting directly in the handle. But the principle is there, a drill that doesn't need a power outlet, a drill that goes anywhere the worker goes. Also in 1969, Makita USA Inc. is established. The American professional contractor market, the most competitive, most demanding tool market in the world, is officially in Makita's sights. But the real revolution was still 9 years away. And when it came, it would change construction sites around the world forever. 1978. Makita engineers have spent a decade on a single problem. How do you put a battery inside a drill, actually inside it, and make it work well enough for professional use? After 10 years of design and testing, they had the answer. The Makita 6010D, 7.2 volts. A nickel-cadmium battery mounted directly in the handle, fully removable, rechargeable, and genuinely powerful enough for real work. It is the world's first cordless drill, not a prototype, not a concept, a product, sold commercially, to professionals. The impact is hard to overstate. Before this moment, power tools meant cords. Cords meant outlets. Outlets meant staying close to the wall, or running extension cords across job sites that were constantly tripping workers, getting damaged by machinery, and limiting where work could actually happen. The cordless drill eliminates all of that. Suddenly a carpenter can work on the third floor of a building that doesn't have power yet. A plumber can get into a crawl space without dragging a cord behind them. An electrician can work in a panel without a cord getting in the way of the work. It isn't just a new tool, it's a new way of working. By 1987, Makita's 7.2V cordless lineup included 15 different tools, all using the same battery. That concept, one battery, every tool, would define power tool strategy for the next 4 decades. Through the late 1970s and into the 1980s, Makita accelerates. New tools, faster chargers, more voltage options. 9.6V joins the lineup. The battery pack that started as a drill accessory becomes the foundation of an entire ecosystem. In 1980, Makita adds pneumatic tools, the first nailer, the first air compressor. New markets. In 1983, Singapore. In 1985, U.S. manufacturing begins. Makita isn't just selling to America, they're building in America. They are becoming a genuinely global company. Japanese engineering, American manufacturing, European expansion, Latin American operations. A company that started repairing motors in Nagoya now makes tools on every inhabited continent. While Milwaukee was becoming the tool of the American union tradesperson, and DeWalt was becoming the tool of the American construction site, Makita was quietly building something else entirely. A global professional ecosystem that neither competitor had matched. The competitive picture through the 1980s and 1990s is fascinating. Black & Decker dominates the consumer market. Milwaukee and DeWalt fight for the professional American contractor. Bosch holds prestige in Europe. And Makita, the company that invented the cordless drill that all of them eventually build their own versions of, quietly expands globally, professional market by professional market, country by country. They are never the loudest voice in the room. They are always the most prepared. By the mid-1990s, the tool wars were intensifying, and Makita was about to make a technological bet so significant that it would reshape the entire industry. And once again, few people would notice until it was too late. The 1990s are a period of accelerating competition. NiCad batteries, the technology Makita pioneered, have become standard across the industry. Every major brand has cordless tools now. The differentiation that Makita enjoyed in 1978 is gone. The question is, what comes next? Makita keeps pushing. In 1991, they acquire Sachs-Dolmar, a German manufacturer of professional chainsaws, broadening into outdoor power equipment. In 1997, they exhibit the first NIMH, nickel metal hydride, battery cordless tool. Better energy density, less toxic, a step forward. But the real breakthrough is waiting. And it's not about nickel at all, it's about lithium. Lithium-ion batteries were already powering laptops and mobile phones by the early 2000s. But nobody had built a power tool with one. The batteries were expensive, volatile under high current draw, and required sophisticated electronics to manage safely. Every major tool brand was watching the technology and waiting for someone else to take the risk first. Makita didn't wait. In their assembly division, the part of the company that builds precision tools for industrial, automation and aerospace, Makita engineers have been working with brushless motor technology since the early 2000s. By 2003 and 2004, they have built the world's first power tool with a brushless motor. More efficient, longer lasting, runs cooler, no carbon brushes to wear out. But more importantly, brushless motors work better with lithium-ion batteries. And lithium-ion batteries, when properly managed electronically, can deliver more power, faster charging, and dramatically longer life than NiCad or NIMH. Makita puts the two together. In February 2005, they launched the TD130D, an impact driver powered by an 18-volt lithium-ion battery with a slide-style mounting that clicks into the bottom of the tool. It is the world's first 18V lithium-ion cordless power tool. The LXT platform is born. When NiCad and NAMH batteries dominated cordless tools, Makita dumped old battery technology and created the world's first 18V lithium-ion system. Milwaukee's M18 and DeWalt's 18V FlexVolt, the tools millions of professionals use today, are built on a concept that Makita invented first. The initial reaction from the market is cautious. Lithium-ion batteries cost more. Contractors are skeptical of unproven technology. But Makita invests heavily in R&D, improving runtime, reducing weight, and dramatically accelerating charging speeds. Within a few years, the advantages are undeniable. Lighter than NiCad, more powerful, charges faster, doesn't self-discharge when sitting in the truck. The professional market converts. By 2009, Makita releases the first 18V brushless motor impact driver for contractors. The combination of lithium-ion and brushless motor technology produces a tool that genuinely rivals corded performance in a tool that fits in your hand and weighs 3 pounds. The modern power tool era has fully arrived, and Makita built the foundation. But success creates competition, and competition creates pressure, because just as Makita was cementing its technological advantage, 2 American brands were preparing to challenge them in ways that had nothing to do with engineering. This is the part of the story most tool channels don't tell, because it's not about one company winning. It's about how brand identity, marketing power, and ecosystem strategy can make you feel like you're losing, even when your technology is ahead. Milwaukee Tool, founded in 1924, spent the 2010s executing one of the most aggressive product expansion strategies in the history of the industry. The M18 platform, which uses 18V lithium-ion technology that Makita pioneered, was marketed with extraordinary intensity toward American union tradespeople. Red job site gear. Sponsorships. An almost tribal brand identity among electricians, pipe fitters, and ironworkers. DeWalt, part of Stanley Black & Decker, had the yellow color, the construction site aesthetics, and the deep distribution network in American home improvement retail that meant a professional could walk into any Home Depot in the country and find a full DeWalt lineup staring back at them. Bosch had German engineering prestige and strong European market position. And Makita? Makita had the teal, the technology, and a global footprint that neither Milwaukee nor DeWalt could match. The battle plays out across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Battery ecosystem. This is where Makita's foresight pays off most clearly. The LXT platform, launched in 2005, has had 20 years to build out. Over 350 tools on a single 18V slide-style battery. No other platform on Earth has more tools on a single compatible system. A contractor who goes Makita doesn't just buy a drill. They buy into an ecosystem that can power their entire job site without a cord in sight. Global reach. Makita manufactures in 14 countries. Their revenue, while concentrated in Japan and Asia, covers a genuinely global professional market that Milwaukee and DeWalt simply don't penetrate as deeply. In Australia, in Japan, in much of Europe and Asia, Makita is not the third option. Makita is the first choice. Innovation speed. Makita has consistently been first. Cordless drill, 1978. 18V lithium-ion, 2005. Brushless motor for contractors, 2009. In 2020, when they launched the 40i XGT platform for heavy-duty applications, they again moved before the competition with a purpose-built high-voltage system for the most demanding professional applications. Perceived brand heat. This is where Makita genuinely struggles in the American market. Milwaukee has the social media. The limited edition tools. The brand culture. DeWalt has the retail dominance. Makita's marketing, by comparison, is quieter, more technical, more understated. The irony is almost painful. The brand that invented the category, that built the first cordless drill, the first 18V lithium-ion system, the first brushless motor tool, is often described as the underdog in the American tool market, despite having the largest platform in the world, despite being the first to every major technological milestone. But here's what the numbers say. Makita's revenue in 2025, $753.13 billion. Operating income, $107 billion. Total assets, over $1.1 trillion. These are not the numbers of a company that is losing. These are the numbers of a company that is winning globally, even as it loses the narrative battle in American tool culture. They have 17,641 employees. They make tools in 14 countries. They sell in over 50. The LXT platform, one battery, over 350 tools, is the biggest compatible cordless ecosystem that exists anywhere in the world. In markets that don't get dominated by brand tribalism, Japan, Southeast Asia, Australia, much of Europe, Makita is often not the underdog. Makita is the benchmark. The real question is not whether Makita is winning. It's why the company that invented the cordless revolution keeps letting other brands tell the story of what it built. Makita Corporation, 2025. 111 years old, still publicly listed on the Tokyo Stock Exchange, still headquartered in Anjo, the small city they fled to in 1945 to escape Allied bombing, and never left. The LXT system has grown to over 350 compatible tools on a single 18V battery. No charge required to move from drill to circular saw to multi-tool to grinder to flashlight to radio. One battery. Every job, every trade. The 40V to XGT platform, launched in 2020, is pushing into the ultra-heavy-duty territory once reserved for corded tools. Angle grinders with real sustained power, large format circular saws, rotary hammers that compete directly with corded professional tools. The cordless revolution, which Makita started with a 7.2V drill in 1978, now reaches jobs that would have required a generator on a job site 10 years ago. And the company is not standing still. Battery technology is advancing. Higher amp hours, smarter electronic management, through their star protection system that communicates real-time between tool and battery to prevent overload, overdischarge, and overheating. Ergonomics are evolving. Lighter tools, better balance, reduced vibration. The LXT subcompact line delivers 18V power in tools sized and weighted like 12V compact tools. The coffee machine is real too. A Makita-branded battery-powered coffee maker that runs on an LXT battery. The internet found it hilarious. But it is, in a strange way, the purest expression of Makita's platform philosophy. If you already carry 18V batteries to every job site anyway, why shouldn't your coffee maker run on one? The Makita coffee machine runs on the same battery as the drill. When your platform is big enough, a battery-powered coffee machine isn't a gimmick. It's the logical conclusion of the system. The global power tool market continues to consolidate and intensify. Milwaukee pushes into trade categories it has never served before. DeWalt's FlexVolt platform extends 60V compatibility down to 20V. Bosch continues to innovate in European professional markets. New entrants from China, brands like Ego and Greenworks in outdoor power, challenge everyone in the battery technology space. Makita watches, innovates, and expands. Quietly, methodically, the way it always has. They are not the loudest brand at the job site. They are the most prepared for what the job site will look like in 10 years. Why Makita succeeded. Makita succeeded because Mosaburo. Makita started by understanding things deeply rather than selling things loudly. 40 years of repairing motors, before they ever built one for a power tool, meant that when Makita finally did build power tools, they understood the failures that other companies would repeat for decades. They succeeded because they thought in platforms, not products. The LXT system is not a drill, it's an ecosystem. Every tool Makita adds to the LXT system makes every other tool in the system more valuable. That thinking, build the platform then populate it, gave them a structural, competitive advantage that cannot be easily replicated. They succeeded because they kept going first. Cordless drill, 18V lithium-ion, brushless motor, 40V heavy-duty. Makita doesn't wait for the market to prove a technology works. They build it, prove it, and then defend it. What Makita got wrong, Makita has consistently underinvested in brand storytelling. They invented the cordless drill, and most American tradespeople couldn't tell you that. They built the world's first 18V lithium-ion tool system, and most people who use Milwaukee M18 every day have no idea. They built the largest compatible cordless platform in the world, and it's rarely part of the conversation when contractors debate their brand allegiance. Being first to the technology is not enough. You have to be first in the conversation too, and Makita has never truly learned to win that battle in the American market. What entrepreneurs and creators can learn? First, start with repair, not manufacturing. Mosaburo Makita understood products at a level of depth most manufacturers never achieve, because he spent years taking them apart when they failed. The deepest competitive advantages come from the deepest understanding. Second, think platform, not product. The most valuable thing Makita ever built is not a drill or an impact driver. It's the LXT system, an ecosystem of compatibility that keeps customers in Makita's world once they enter it. Build the platform first, the products follow. Third, global thinking is the asymmetric advantage. While Milwaukee and DeWalt fight over the American job site, Makita has quietly dominated professional markets across Asia, Australia, and Europe. The biggest market isn't always the loudest one. Fourth, being first means nothing if you don't tell the story. Makita's greatest untold invention is the invention of the modern cordless tool paradigm. They built the foundation, they just let other people take credit for the house. Final line. In 1915, a 21-year-old opened a repair shop because he believed that understanding how things break is the only true way to understand how they should be built. 111 years later, that philosophy is wired into every tool on every job site in every country on Earth. The name on those tools changes. The idea behind them doesn't. That's not a repair shop anymore. That's a revolution. That started with a motor that was broken and a young man who knew how to fix it.